we all got the news of Bernie Sanders suspending his campaign. I did a short live stream on it, but I'm going to hand it now over to Kira McCown, who's going to lead it in regards to Bernie Sanders and what this means to the progressive and independent movement. Kira, take it away.
Yeah. Yep. So, everybody's heard that Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont suspended his presidential bid today, ending a campaign that once appeared to be on track to making him the Democratic nominee. And now, after a large turn of events after the South Carolina primaries and subsequent events after that, Bernie has dropped out of the race, lagging about 300 delegates behind Vice President Biden. In fact, Bernie says, quote, "I wish I could give you better news." He said this today in his live talk streaming online. But I think the truth, and that is we are now some 300 delegates behind Vice President Biden, and the path to victory is virtually impossible, Sanders said. "I have concluded that this battle for the Democratic nomination will not be successful. And so today I am announcing the suspension of my campaign." He said that the ongoing coronavirus pandemic has hastened his decision to suspend his campaign, saying that continuing his presidential bid would only distract from the efforts to combat the outbreak and damage it has done to the U.S. economy. "I cannot in good conscience continue to mount a campaign that cannot win and which would interfere with the important work required of all of us in this difficult hour, blah, 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 blah." Well, what's really interesting about that also is that he doesn't mention that it's actually criminal, in my opinion, for the Democratic Party to be continuing these primaries in this fashion. And he doesn't mention that a single time in talking about stepping down. And really, mention also that in stepping down, he's actually saving a lot of voters to the polls and possibly contracting this virus. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, or if that's in the front of his mind or not. I can't imagine not having the safety of the people who are going to the polls to vote, not in the best interest of the Democratic Party right now, especially considering I think it was 22,000 votes that the Democrats missed the win in Michigan by. So, being that there are tens of thousands of COVID cases being reported and likely several thousand people dying from this virus, I don't think it's very smart to maintain the primaries, but that's neither here nor there. Bernie has suspended his campaign. And a lot of the people inside of his campaign had been urging him to do so, but others, like co-chair Nina Turner, had pleaded him to continue his presidential bid, arguing that dropping out would disappoint loyal supporters and cede crucial political influence in the nominating process, which I couldn't agree with more. And Sanders signaled that he would still seek to hold sway over the Democratic Party's platform. He said he would remain on the ballot in upcoming primary contests and would try to amass as many delegates as possible in a bid to wield influence at the party's national convention this summer. So before I go on to some of the other things that I personally have to say about this and what's next, I want to get everybody's reaction to the suspension of his campaign first.
Okay. So really quick, I know that they reached out to Joe Biden directly, and Joe Biden's like, "Wait, I'm in a campaign."
See, now that's funny. But you know what, Daniel? What's surprising is that that's probably true, because even during a press conference, like we expected, like we saw, Donald Trump jumped at a chance to tear down Biden when a news reporter told Donald Trump that Biden attacked him on Twitter. And you know what Donald Trump's response was? Joe Biden didn't write that. He's got a crew to write things for him. The DNC just does that. And you know what? He's not wrong. Have we not seen Biden in these previous interviews since last week, since he was on that radio silence? Every time Joe Biden has spoken, he is clearly not there. He has some cognitive issues. And to Bernie Sanders, look, I did a short live stream. I was trying to be as reserved about it as possible. But here, look, Bernie Sanders, you had a pathway to victory. But the very fact that you never acknowledged the election fraud, not only of 2016, but even now, and the very fact that you didn't really call out the DNC for the fact that they were still allowing these primaries to happen when they should have been postponing them, It says a lot about what you were willing to stand up for. Because here's everything you cared about. Progressive policies, Medicare for all. Right now, this COVID-19 is evidence why we need Medicare for all. I don't know what else you need, but you should have kept on fighting. You were correct on all the issues. You've been fighting for progressive policies for 40 plus years, but the very fact you caved to the Democratic Party, a party that is neoliberal to the core, a party that is no longer to its ideals of FDR or John F. Kennedy, that party is now Republican light. And now the Republicans can have all the fun time in the world to tear down Joe Biden. And now the Democratic establishment, all these candidates that were in this race right now, all of them signed that little magical piece of paper saying, well, all they're going to rally around the nominee. Well, this is your champion. The vote blue no matter who, people. You got Joe Biden, a guy who was not one, but 8 accusations of sexual assault, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, a guy who was against desegregation, a guy who supported the credit card corporations, a guy who voted for the war in Iraq, a guy that said not once, but twice during 2 interviews that he would veto Medicare for all. This is the guy that's going to beat Trump. He's not all there. At least Trump, to his defense, however little there is, at least Donald Trump is in front of the American people and holding press conferences, and Bernie Sanders, you were holding events too, speaking to the American people. But the fact that you're not fighting right now, the fact that you just suspended your campaign, it derails the progressive movement. But on the other hand, here's what happens. We got to move on without you. It's over. You left a good message. You had a lot of good points, but it's done. And I can't ask a commander to keep on fighting and fighting and fighting when he refuses to step up, especially when he's being cheated. I respect your message. I respect what you have done. I respect how you inspired people. I just can't respect on how you not once, but twice just quit to the DNC, a political party that will never adopt Medicare for all. And good luck with getting your supporters to rally around Joe Biden when the neoliberal establishment for 4 years have been calling Bernie Sanders supporters, progressives, and independents toxic people, BidenBros. Good luck with getting your supporters to do that, because they're not going to do it. Daniel.
Yeah, and here's the thing about this that I see, and I've been watching chat from people in chat right now, and I see a lot of different emotions, and they're all valid. I mean, it's like there's a lot of ways to interpret what's happening. I'm not as shocked. I mean, you guys remember the last Super Tuesday that happened. You saw my reaction to it, and you saw that I'm like, oh no, because we figured out at that point that, like, again, I expected way early in the race. I factored into Sanders' victory 2 things that I didn't get right. I got all the other variables right, more or less. Didn't get these 2 things right. I thought that an economic depression would start around the beginning of the year, not in spring. That was on me. Sorry I didn't predict the complete economic collapse on time. It's my bad. Second is I thought that Bernie Sanders would have fought more against the Democratic Party. I thought that he had learned from 2016. I thought that he had lawyers ready to call out the cheating as it happened. He didn't in Iowa, didn't in New Hampshire, didn't going forward, and he didn't take advantage of his 3-state win, which is historic. No one's ever done that before. That's still a record that he made. And I will still say he's planted a forest worth of trees in his wake. So it's up to us to spring up and take the fight on, because it's up to us now to complete our own vision that Sanders has helped jumpstart, but could not and would not get us the way there. I will remind everyone that Nina Turner was viciously attacked by people on the quote-unquote left Democratic side for saying that Sanders should step in, because, as you know, if you attack someone that happens to be black and you're a progressive, well, then you're just a racist bigot who blah, 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 blah. But if you're a white person that's attacking Nina Turner, well, that's fair. You're making good points. She is very stupid, isn't she? And that's the way that things should go. In reality, and we've now seen this too with Me Too and Time's Up, these are just arms of the Democratic Party. These are just arms of the establishment. So big thing to remember, everyone. Don't believe any established power to be legitimate just because other people think it is. Make your own thing. Don't chastise. Don't punch water in this circumstance. Now is the time for us all to build up. What are we doing? Well, we're trying to grow Hard Lens Media so that the stuff that we say and that we think that we get from you guys carries and means something and is valuable, because the work that we do together, us, audience, Patreon, everyone, that it makes it work because enough people think it works. And in a weird way, That's all reality is the culmination of the perceptions of how people think it works. So let's together move forward and understand that we didn't win this cycle. Big deal. We have lost since the 60s, well, the 70s, late 70s. We had a small period where we were sort of winning right when World War II was starting, and it was only, again, for a very specific part of the middle class, let's be real, but that populism existed, and it was beautiful where it was when it existed. And, well, if there's something that's going to get us back to that time, well, what got us back in the first place? The Great Depression. What are we heading into right now? Another Great Depression. So, guys, steel yourselves, be ready, be consistent, and know that you're going to matter in this fight that happens over the next 4, 8, 10 years. That right now, there is someone who the progressives are going to field in the next cycle who has the right credentials like Bernie had, who's not being sidetracked by any identity politics, not being sidetracked by, I got to please the Democratic Party, who is straight down the line going, we're going to make economic reform. And if the Democratic Party steps in our way, or maybe it's a third party, depending on how it plays out, but if the Democratic Party tries to step in our way, I will destroy it. If you try and screw me over, Democratic Party, I'm going to tell my people to go vote Republican, or I'm going to tell them to make a third party. I'm not standing for this. And that's something Sanders didn't do. Sanders had
and he
the
could
policy down. He could have. It's not his style.
Yeah,
apparently.
No, he's too nice. He's too nice. Kira, I know you want to add some elements in there too.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, what Bernie Sanders should do and what Bernie Sanders is going to do is very different things, right? We all know that Bernie Sanders is going to back the Democratic nominee, which is now obviously Joe Biden, which is really disappointing. It was disappointing in 2016 when he did that with Hillary Clinton. It was disappointing when he chose not to run third party and decided to be to run again inside of the Democratic Party. We already saw what happened with that. I don't understand why he didn't. I still supported him anyway because he's really been the only leader that was by the side of actually leading the Progressive Party. But of course, that blew up in our faces again. And now we have an opportunity possibly to Dem exit. From what I understand, the third party, the Green Party leader has offered Bernie Sanders the Green Party ticket.
But
there's no way in hell he's going to take that. And so yeah, I think, you know, I'm kind of faced again with what I was faced with back in 2005 when I exited the Democratic Party and only re-entered to vote for Bernie Sanders back in 2016. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's really upsetting. I think that the Democratic Party is not the party for me. Mm-hmm. It is not the party for about half of the Democratic Party. And probably more than that, you know, it's just that those people that we don't know about that aren't a part of the Democratic Party are just so disenfranchised that they don't actually have an opportunity to come and vote, or they don't give a shit about voting because there's nobody that actually represents them. So right. Dem exit is next. You know, thank you, Bernie. Thank you for everything that you did. You know, everything that he's done over his career is still seen and still very important in this conversation. But Bernie was never the Messiah, right? No. He's never like the only one that was able to push our progressive voice. That's what we're here for. That's what our viewers are here for. That's what all of the independent media news is for, is to keep pushing this progressive voice. That's what local elections are for, getting involved and getting your local elections to push more progressive. And also let's get out of this establishment bullshit because it doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us.
So there's a couple other things too, real quick, that I want to mention. It's easy to be discouraged. It's easy to be demotivated. But what Daniel was mentioning is very true. We got to keep on planning. Yes, there will be defeats, but it's not the end. Look, Bernie Sanders has left an impact. He's left an important legacy. But now we got to move on without him. We got to leave Bernie behind, and it's over. Because at the end of the day, none of these politicians are the knight on the hill. They're not that hero to lead the charge. It's always been us, the people. You sitting down right now watching us live. You are that knight. You all are that knight on the hill leading the charge to bring in that better future. And we have to start doing it now. And that means changing the way we run the elections in this country, making sure we have election integrity, making sure we have open ballots, making sure that we actually have a parliamentary system. It's not going to be an easy fight. And there's going to be a lot of challenges coming our way because good luck was trying to reform the DNC from the inside. I mean, that's a possibility. That's a pass, but it's extremely difficult because they're going to knock down progressive and independents. Same thing with running as a third party candidate. There's a system at the state level and federal level to stop third parties. So what does this mean? We have to organize, plan, and also change the way we run elections. And with this depression that we're going to be entering into and the fact that there is no cure for COVID-19, we have to keep pushing forward as progressives. We have to keep supporting independent media because Sanders is gone. It's over. And I cannot rally around someone like Joe Biden. I am not a vote blue, no matter who kind of person. I want someone who's actually going to fight for me and not only for myself, but for the next generation to come. Jerome, what's the final words?
Yeah, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. So, Bernie is the reason that I got involved in politics in the first place. Before that, I really was not involved. I didn't know much about anything, right? Anything that CNN or whatever was probably as much news that I even listened to until Bernie came around. That's when I actually got a little more involved. That's when I found Hard Lens, and it's disappointing. I'm disappointed. And at the same time, I'm also not surprised because it didn't seem like Bernie wasn't fighting. It really did not towards the end here. I really wish. So I was saying with our team earlier before we went live was this happened 4 years ago and you're just letting it happen again. Like this is, I mean, right. I feel like it's his last shot here for this, and go out with a bang. You might as well step on your soapbox and just keep going until that very end. But we didn't see that. And the guys are right though. That's why we're here. That's why all of us are here. That's why chat's here and saying everything that they need to say, because we're not happy about how this turned out. But it is up to us. It really is. And I hope to see somebody who comes out of this whole progressive just this progressive form and just says, well, fuck it. Like, let's just go. Let's cut the bullshit. Let's take care of things the way that they're supposed to be and move on from here. So
yeah.
Let me just say one thing.
We got to fight for that better future.
Yeah. Let me just speak very quickly on that. In a weird way, we need someone with the consistency, the trustworthiness, and the policies of Bernie Sanders, but also kind of the temperament of Trump. Maybe not exactly his temperament, maybe not his grabbiness. I will kind of way, but his way of saying, "Hey, media, go F yourself."
What we need is kind of like someone with the charisma of Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy. They got things done, and they left a legacy and they set the standard of what it means to be a president. They were able to get things done. And granted, all those 3 individuals I named have their flaws. But if you're going to be going up against this paper tiger that's running itself with a paper wall that is backed up by corporate money, we can break this system. It can be done. It will be a tough fight, but you cannot play nice with these people. And you cannot say that Joe Biden, a man with 8 women stepping up saying that he has harassed them and abused them, as being a good person and your friend when he has been on the wrong side of history. So as a final note, look, Bernie, I get what you're trying to do. I don't respect it. You should have kept on fighting. I'm somebody who likes a fighter, fight till the end. You had a pathway to victory. But there's no way I'm going to rally around someone like Joe Biden, and good luck with getting some of your supporters to do that too. There's a reason why we got Trump in the first place, and it's because the DNC decided to prop up a neoliberal corporate sellout. And Joe Biden will lose to Trump, and if he does win, it leads to the danger of somebody worse than Trump replacing Joe Biden, because that's the situation, and that's a crisis of neoliberalism. And to win this system, to beat this system, to really bring in change, you have to be aggressive. You have to fight. People respect strength, and that is it. And so at the end of the day, farewell, Bernie, but we keep on moving on without you, and we will get our leaders to step up, and we will bring in that better future. And right now, I'm looking at them, our audience, our live stream viewing audience, our Patreon supporters. You guys are making that happen, but each of you has that ability to bring in that better future too. Don't be that person who says that they wish they could have helped.